middle mile in providing a more robust, faster internet. How can Congress, the FCC, or other agencies encourage greater investment in this critical infrastructure?
Well, the middle mile component is something that I think a lot of times gets missed in the discussion of fast internet speeds. And as I mentioned, particularly in our company's case, the last mile component, the part that goes throughout the community and to the customer's home, has been upgraded and is very capable of delivering very high data rates. What is missing in many cases is, if you think of the interstate highway system, the broadband long-haul fiber network in this country is similar to the interstates. It goes to the big cities. What's different is there's not really off-ramps to rural areas. And so I think the agencies have done a good job by dedicating $800 million to the development of open access middle mile components so that there will be more competition in that area, bringing higher capacity lines out to rural areas. So we're very hopeful that since they've done that, that after the funding period and after applicants are awarded grants, that will begin to change.
Okay. You raised the issue of the restriction preventing an award recipient from selling or leasing an award-funded facility, and this has been raised by small business advocates as well. How does this requirement impact innovation and growth of small companies?
In the first lien requirement?
Yeah.
Well, I can tell you in our case, we already have a bank, and they already have a lien on the assets of our company and the systems that have not yet been upgraded, and that's due to the fact that they're remote and not commercially feasible. So I applaud what Mr. Adelstein said, that they're going to come up with 5 or 6 different options for applicants to apply for or to try to buttonhole into options to where that first lien might be modified. I really think that they're a lender, so what they're going to have to do in order to get these funds out, they're going to have to be a flexible lender, because you don't want to eliminate incumbents in certain areas that already have customers. We're applying for an area in Cairo, Illinois, which is a very disadvantaged area, and no broadband service exists today. But there's already a lien on those properties, so in order, and we already have 350 video customers there, so we would be a very qualified provider of broadband service in Cairo because we have an embedded customer base. But we've got to have them be flexible when it comes to lien requirements so that we can work around that. I know for a fact that in our membership's case, we had a number of companies that would have applied but for the first lien rule and the 10-year hold.
You heard that a lot of the members here raise the concern about the frustration with the application process to both gentlemen that were here because it's complex and it really discouraged participation. Of the information requested in the application, what were the most intensive to complete?
The biggest problem that we found in the application process is that we were required to have complete design projects done for the communities we proposed to serve. And by doing that, that meant we had to go and specifically walk out from pole to pole, house to house, provide measurements, do a complete system design project for every community. That cost somewhere in the neighborhood of at least $500 a mile. Even in a small town, you're talking about 25 miles of cable to provide broadband service. So that was a very expensive and time-consuming proposal. What we would have liked to have seen would have the ability to say, look, we provide service to 250 communities, and we propose to build a system in Cairo that looks just like this one. And the design we will warrant will look just like this design that currently provides broadband service. And I think if RUS would take a look at that, that would really, really lower the threshold and the expense in supplying an application.
If you had any question about the application, were you able to get a person on the phone to answer any questions?
In the early parts of the application process, we were, and they were helpful. But that some of the rules are so specific that were set out in the process that like the one I just discussed, they weren't able to say, well, here's a way around it. It just has to be that way. So while they were accessible, I'm not sure exactly how helpful that was.
Okay. Mr. Thompson.